Thank you, Gwen. I'm Tom Meredith. I'm the executive chairman of the company, and I'll take you through our story. Gwen, thanks for a great introduction. So here's our key points. We're in Red Lake. Red Lake's been a great gold production camp. It's produced 30 million ounces of high-grade gold. We're situated on key geology. We're about 20 kilometers west of Goldcorp's mines. We've got 3 former producing gold mines on the property. It's always a good place to look for gold adjacent to gold mines or around and under gold mines. We have a resource of 1.1 million ounces of about 7.6 grams at one of the mines, and we can expand that. We also have significant exploration potential at the structural intersection, which is about 1 kilometer to the east of that resource, and Goldcorp is our funding partner. Just a little bit about people. Before I was at this company, I was the CEO of Lexum VG Gold, or at the time it was VG Gold. It's a company in Timmins that had 4 former producing gold projects on the property, and it had about 60,000 ounces when I started. It had a market cap of about $3 million. And we got it up to 2 million ounces, and Rob McEwen took an interest in it and took it over. His company was Lexum, and our shareholders got a value of $200 million. So we see the same or even greater potential with this company to do the same kind of thing, and that's really what we're setting out to do. John Contact, who's our president, was formerly president of Victory Gold Mines. That was also a project in Timmins, which was drilled and then was acquired. It's now in Oban. Another, Ken Guy, our exploration manager, was also our exploration manager at Lexum VG. He's a seasoned exploration project geologist. And we have Dan Crandall, he looks after the numbers for us, and Michael Dane was a former Goldcorp senior geo. So that gives us a good team. We have a lot of other good people involved, so we can move this project forward. Capital structure, 88 million shares. About 55 to 60% are well held by management and key shareholders, so the float's relatively small. We have some warrants that are going to get exercised, we think, in the next month or so, which will give us some more money. We don't have that many options out. Those mostly go to consultants and directors. The management, John and I, don't have any options. We bought stock, so ourselves and our families have big share positions. So we're investors who are very active in trying to make this thing worth as much as possible for all of us shareholders. There we go. So here we are in Red Lake. The red border shows our outline. Our project's about 12 kilometers long. If you look to the east, you can see the 4 mines that Goldcorp has, the most easterly 2. The furthest one to the east is the old Dickinson mine, which is now called the Red Lake mine, where they made a major discovery. The next one over is what was historically known as the Campbell Red Lake mine, which is a very rich mine. And then down south of us, another exhibitor here is Pure Gold Mining, and they have the Madsen mine. So and Pure Gold has a couple of projects right in between Goldcorp and PGM. So that pretty much is a setup for the camp, and that gives you a good idea of our land position and how we're situated relative to the other players in the camp. Property outline, more specifically, the western end we own 100%. There's 3 former producing mines on the property. The Rowan mine is in the center. That's where our focus is. Goldcorp has a 60% interest in most of the property, 40, and we have 60. We're the operator. This slide shows you the structural intersection. So we have an east-west structure that's got multiple high-grade gold veins in it that we've been drilling. That's where the Rowan mine is. And then coming up from the south is another geological structure, also with multiple high-grade gold zones in it. So our focus has traditionally been on the Rowan mine and building a resource there, and now we're moving over to the structural intersection target, which has much greater potential. This picture gives you an idea of what the Rowan mine zones look like. There's 4 principal zones that have most of the resource. 101A is about 11 grams, so there's nice grade there. So there's where our 1.1 million ounces is. We can basically expand that going to depth. We're also following that same structure further to the east, which is where the structural intersection is. There's a snapshot of our ounces that shows you that the grade is pretty good. If you reduce the cutoff to higher numbers, 4 and 5 grams, you get higher grades. So this can be a relatively high-grade gold mine. Here's where we're really going to talk about the story. If you look on the left, under that head frame, the bright red area is where the resource is, and then underneath it is where we can expand it to depth. So the resource is 1.1 million ounces. Right now, the market value is at around $15 an ounce for us. Goldcorp has 60%. In strong markets, and we're just starting a bull market, in strong markets, that can go up 5 to 10 times ounces in the ground. So if we just basically put out a few press releases and did some arm waving and took a ride with the market over the next 2 or 3 years, you can see a great lift in share price based on what we have in the ground now. But what we plan to do is basically try to double that resource. So if we take 1 million ounces to close to 2 million ounces, or about 2 million ounces, by expanding it to depth roughly another 100% deeper than it is now, this is fairly clear to us that we can accomplish that. So with doubling ounces and getting a lift with the market itself, we can create a lot of market value for our shareholders over the next few years on a fairly straightforward execution path. And the cost of doing that would probably be $2 to $3 million. So we can make a huge lift for not too much money in. But our most attractive target is the one to the right, where you see that red box in the next structure over. So the yellow indicates the alteration around the structural intersection itself, and the orange is the other structure coming in. So that whole area of approximately a kilometer and a half is juiced up. They're both structures have high-grade gold zones in them, so we're going to be exploring that area inside the box. The one hole we put out a couple of months ago had 69 grams in it. It was just inside that box. So we're basically going to drill pattern off that box, identify gold zones, and follow them over to the orange area where the other structure should hopefully open up bigger zones. And that's where we have a chance to hit one out of the park. At Goldcorp, the Dickinson mine, for example, they have structural intersection there. They found one zone that was about 120 feet long and 100 feet wide at a structural intersection. It took Dickinson Mines, which became Goldcorp's Red Lake mine, from a 50 million market cap to 8 billion. So that's the big prize. And in the meantime, we can hopefully drill off gold zones and build a resource there and find something really significant. So that's basically our plan to build value for shareholders. We think it's a pretty straightforward one to follow, and the market's with us on it. So that's the story in a nutshell. The near-term strategy is to explore and develop a significant high-grade resource and expand it. Long-term strategy is to realize great potential for the shareholders by basically getting the thing up to a value in the hundreds of millions and then trade it out to somebody else for higher quality paper and make everybody a big winner. So thanks for hearing our story.